Introduction. Welcome. Then in this video we're going to develop a research work based on one of the several linguistic theories about the learning process of acquired language. In this case, the theory taken into account is error analysis by Stephen Pitt Corder. Besides, there will be some exercises made by a team which is relative with one of my classmates. Those different exercises were applied and related with AI theory to support and show how these traditional homeworks left by school are very useful in those process of learning.
Error analysis is a technique which aims to explain the systematic deviations or errors generated in second language learning. Corder argued that researchers must focus on the language produced by the learner, as he tried to communicate in the target language. In other terms, by examining the errors that learners produce. According to Corder, errors are significant of three things. First, to the teacher, in that they tell him if he or she undertakes a systematic analysis, how far towards that goal the learner has progressed, and consequently, what remains for him to learn. Second, they provide the researchers with evidence of how language is learned or acquired, and what strategies or procedures the learner is employing in his discovery of the language. Third, they are indispensable to the learner himself, because we can regard the making of errors as a device the learner uses in order to learn. Making mistakes are normal part in human learning process, because those mistakes indicate that some learning is taking place. Before this theory, errors were seen by behaviorists as signs of learning failure, but according to mentalists, errors are signs of language development. Primary aims of error analysis are: first, to identify different patterns of error; second, to establish error taxonomy, spelling errors, grammatical errors, and sentence errors; third, the common difficulties in second language acquisition are identified. 4. On this basis, error analysis is supposed to contribute to a comprehensive knowledge and processes of second language acquisition. In addition, results are used for the revision of language learning theories, and it also helps to improve the evaluation and language teaching. The importance of errors in second language teaching. 1. Provide the teacher with about how much the learner has learned. It reflects the additional role of error analysis. 2. Provide the researcher with evidence of how language is learned. It provides a new role to L2 research. 3. Serves as a device in which the learner discovers the rules of the target language. Contribution of error analysis in second language acquisition research. Error analysis is the first method used to investigate learner language in second language acquisition terms. It has served as a tool for providing empirical evidence for the behaviorist-mentalist debate of 1970. It supports the claim of the creativeness of learning language. It recognized that errors were not something to be avoided, but were an inevitable feature of learning process. It helped making errors respectable. Everything that a learner utters is by definition an utterance in his dialect. Corder, 1971.
About our now subject, we applied the theory to a 15-year-old teenager in 10th grade. In her school, she has two subjects dedicated to second language acquisition. These are English and advanced English. In total, per week, she has 5 hours dedicated to learning a second language. In addition to school, she usually consumes a lot of audiovisual content in English. This is because she only listens music in English and watches some shows and series in English with Spanish subtitles. We made activities based on speaking, listening, reading, writing, and vocabulary. In this moment in her school, she is learning verbal tenses, especially past simple. That's why we made activities based on past simple. Reading activity. In this activity, we select a text reading in past to know her levels of reading comprehension. After reading, she had to answer a few questions about it. In this activity, we found that her levels of reading comprehensions are high because all her answers were right. Even when the text had some unknown words, she immediately found the meaning of this. Speaking activity. In this activity, we found that she doesn't like speaking English because she doesn't feel confident, even when she has the vocabulary and the skills for talk about little things, for example, introduce herself. However, she likes try to sing in English, so that's why the activity of speaking was singing her favorite songs. And we found that she feels more confident and she has problems in pronunciation. Listening activity. In listening activity, we decided listen music, and after the songs, we asked her about uh, what was the song about and what she thinks the singer was saying. The songs were One Last Time, Ariana Grande, I Should Have Kissed You, One Direction, and Julia by Love. In addition to the songs, we applied an activity about a dialect, and she had to listen and complete the gaps with the right answer. Also, another activity for this section was order some sentences in order in which the men in the audio talked. Vocabulary activity. To know her levels of vocabulary, she had to write all the words she knew in the second language with the translation in 10 minutes. At the end of the activity, she wrote 37 words. Writing activity. According with her classes, the writing activity was about past simple. First, she had to write 10 verbs with the correct form in past. And in the second part, she had to write 5 sentences in past. According with Corder, for this theory, it's necessary. First, select a corpus language. Second, identify the errors. Third, classify the errors. Fourth, explain the errors. And fifth, evaluate the errors. First, we select an activity from writing section when she have to write 5 sentences in past simple. Second, we identify the errors. We select a sentence, and in this example, we can see how she confused the verbal sentence and write the sentence in present instead of writing in past. Third, we classify the error. According with Corder, this error is linguistic type over generalization error because she already knows that was is a word used in past simple, but she doesn't know how use this word in a correct way. Also is a grammar error because she doesn't know the correct structure of the sentence. We identify that is incomplete application of rules because she doesn't apply the rules of verbal tenses. Also is an spelling error because she write school instead of school. Fourth, we explain the error. She makes this mistake because she doesn't identify the auxiliary do in past form did. The same happened with the verbs. Fifth, we evaluate the error. Once we know the error, we explain what is the correct form of the auxiliary do in the past tense so she can identify the sentence in past more easily.
Conclusions. The study of language transfer will always be linked to the common way or form of acquire a second language. More if this process of learning is based on the application of different strategies as the previously observed to develop a successful reception of this language. For this reason, it's very important to identify the advantages and disadvantages in which the learners are immersed across those cognitive and pedagogical processes of learning. As theory says, an error is noticeable deviation reflecting the competence of the learner. Although the cognitive process of learning is focused on the apprentice, it's available to remark the insufficiency of the academic treatment taken by the school at the beginning of this cognitive process. For example, the correct use of the language structure had been the stone in the shoe for the learners, keeping in mind they are not a native speaker, but surely they have to know those roles. Nowadays, the use of different linguistic theories to study the development of a transfer language are so necessary to get inside the classrooms. It will help to develop and increase the production of language and hold those study branches.